Hello, everybody. Welcome to Townsend 909, or welcome back if you're a very lovely viewer. Today, me and Bryar from 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 Bryers Music Showcase, we're going to be reviewing this album right here, the Mamas and the Papas debut album. Yeah, going through their discography. Nowhere near as big as the. Not I wouldn't say it's big, but it's basically a little half of the amount of records that the Birds had. So
Right, yeah.
this could be a shorter series than that, and thankfully, because I need a little bit of a shorter series after a long one like that one.
hmm
Anything you like to add? History, you always like to add a history before our record. So anything you like to add before we begin?
yeah. So I'm just gonna give my history with this band. Obviously, I've known about the debut for quite some time. Of course, I know some of their big hits, but didn't really dive into the albums until I bought, of course, this album. And for a long time, it's been the only album that I've actually heard all the way through. So it was kind of nice to go through to do this series and kind of explore a lot of their other albums and maybe find out some other hidden songs in there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to what we have. In terms of the history, at least I'm not going to go too in depth because there's actually a ton of history about how they formed. You got, if you can see behind me, I'm actually playing a. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the program Behind the Music.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen it before.
yeah. So that's playing in the background. It's the whole episode to the Mamas and the Papas. So if you want to hear a more in-depth history of the band, you can definitely look into that one. But I'll definitely kind of truncate it here. But basically, the band formed when John Phillips was in a band called the Journeymen, and while in the band, he met Michelle Phillips. He met Michelle, who of course they would fall in love. They would get married. Hence why we know her as Michelle Phillips. Once the Journeymen broke up, then John decides to form a new band. He recruits Michelle, and they have another guy that John knew, Denny Doherty. Um, he joins the band, and through Denny, they meet Cass Elliot. But funny enough, John did not want Cass in the band originally because she felt she didn't have the voice yet. It would take a while for her to convince him otherwise, but eventually the four got together and they would go ahead and they got a record deal, and lo and behold, they made the first album and released in February 28th, 1966. And of course, produced by Lou Adler. And of course, this album did very well. This album went number one on Billboard. So, very good start to her career. So, we'll see about what's in store on this album.
Definitely. Jason, you're a millennial. Thanks for watching. I actually just listened to this album yesterday.
Oh, wow,
So,
cool.
if you want, you could clue in on your thoughts on each song with us. Yeah. I, uh, Danny and Cass are also in a group called the Mugwumps.
Mm,
Interesting group. I heard their first and only album. It's with Mama Cass. I forgot. I remember, but I know Mama Cass and of course Danny is in the group. And but there was also a person from the Love and Spoonful. I know Jason knows them. His name's Zal. Zal. It begins with a Y, but it's Zal something. And I gotta say, really good, decent band. Among ones. I know there's more
mm.
members in that band, but yeah. Starting off with our first song is Monday Monday, and Jason just commented, Monday Monday was my favorite song.
All right, cool. Yep, that's a good one. It's a good choice. So yeah, this was obviously a big hit. Went number one. Reportedly, this was written in 20 minutes, which is kind of very, very cool because of everything around it. And this even won them a Grammy for Best Pop Performance by Duo or Group with Vocals. So yeah, this was definitely a good song to start off with. I mean, you start off with their I mean, the band's already known for their vocal arrangements, and right off the bat, it starts just with that ba da ba da da da, and it's just the perfect way to start their career with. Um, just a song about the Monday blues, that sort of thing that we felt every once in a while. In this one, you have Denny on lead vocals, and yeah, he definitely kills it on the vocals. Just really underrated singer, I think. I feel like not many people talk about. Of course, people love Cass Elliot, but I feel like Denny doesn't get enough credit because I think he has a great voice as well. And it's ironic because Denny didn't think the song would do that well, but of course it was proven wrong. But yeah, there's a great arrangement on this track as well. Just really a well crafted pop song, and yeah, just a great way to open the album.
I always thought that he had a better voice than Mama Cass.
Mm.
I even went as far as to used to thinking that she was a little overrated because so many people raved over her.
Oh yeah,
Obviously, now I now loved her voice, but
yeah.
yeah, really really good song. I don't blame Jason for saying that it's the best song on the album. I thought it would have been California Dreaming, but we'll get more into that song when we get to that song. But man, what a great way to start off the album. Great way to Bryers said it, perfect way to start off your career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have no complaints about it. Such a beautiful song. Yeah, good stuff. Next song on the album, Straight Shooter.
All right, so now we kind of go to a more kind of a straightforward type of song, no pun intended. But yeah, this is definitely a very typical. Not when I say typical, I don't mean that in the bad way, but definitely very sounds like you're a standard like 60s kind of pop rock sort of sound. Good guitar. There's some good bass work as well. Like the intro has a good bass riff. Lyrically, it's kind of a spicy one. It's kind of you can picture what Straight Shooter is really trying to say. But it's a very good song to follow up with. Again, just not a whole lot to say about it, but still, solid song.
Yeah, there's like two different kinds of straight shooters. There's the Scouts Honor straight shooter, and then there's the other straight shooter. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I don't necessarily think it was about that because the song because I don't know. I mean, it was the '60s, and 60s was full of drugs and all that. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was early '66, and then I mean the album was recorded in '65. I mean, this was before drugs and rock and roll, like the whole drug thing really became popular. But you could be right; it could be about the other straight shooter. But
Mm-hmm.
me, honestly, the I feel like it's about the first one, but I could be wrong. But this besides that whole what the song's about and what's not about, I think it's a great song. I think the vocals are great, killing it. I one time, the first time I ever, well, I heard this on the album when I first heard it, but when I heard this in the trailer of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that movie,
Mm.
like, oh my god, the straight shooter riff, and I'm just like, dang, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
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 nice.
awesome. And yeah, great song. Yeah. Next song on the album, Got a Feeling, which was the B-side to Monday Monday.
Hmm. Yeah, right. Okay, so this one, the majority of the album was written by John Phillips, but this one was actually co-written between John and Denny, and it's about a bad relationship due to unfaithfulness. Foreshadowing. Anyhow, but yeah, this is kind of a more slower song. This is where this is all about the harmony, really. Really great guitar sound, just mainly acoustic playing, but very nice. And what's kind of cool is that there's like this weird percussion sound which almost simulates the sound of a clock, like it's kind of ticking. Like I kind of picture it like it's somebody waiting for their significant other to return from their debauchery or whatever, and they're just waiting for them to return. They just put this feeling, and the time is just ticking away. Just I think that's a really nice touch. But yeah, This one was kind of, let me see, where did I put this again? It's kind of more in the middle, but still, it's kind of it's still a really, really good song. Like, that's something I'll just say off the bat. To me, there's no bad songs on this album at all. I pretty much enjoy every single song. Um, I wouldn't even say there's a dishonorable song, but yeah, this is still, it's more middle of the road, but that's not a bad thing at all. It's still a really great song.
It's like what, yeah. I'm kind of gonna be like what we did in our Breakfast in America. I'm not gonna pick a dishonorable song because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, none like the first two albums. They were just like their first two albums. I think there's not a single weak song on their first two albums. I mean, the third album. I'm not gonna say I hate any songs off the album. Well, there is one particular track that I'm not a fan of, but yeah, yeah, what a great song, very beautiful. The harmonies, Michelle on lead vocals for the first time, really good. This isn't my favorite Michelle, like my favorite Michelle led song. Well, there is one song called "Dedicated to the One I Love," but she doesn't lead sing the whole song. But
Mm.
this one, she's like really she has her moment. This was like her big moment almost on this album. I really like it. I kind of agree with you. I mean, compared to the other songs, it's middle of the road, but on its own, I think it's a really
Yeah,
fantastic song.
exactly.
Yeah. Next song on the album is a Beatle cover. I Call Your Name.
Yep, like you said, this is a Beatles cover, and I did listen to both versions to kind of see the comparison. And obviously, this song's a little bit slower than the Beatles cover because the Beatles was a bit more typical 60s rock. But I really enjoyed their cover. Like, sometimes I even forget this was a Beatles song originally. I think they really made it their own on this for this track. And of course, this is where Mama Cass Elliot gets a chance to shine. She's on lead vocals here, and I think she does a really great job here. And of course, Denny comes in during the chorus as well, just to kind of switch things up. Kind of goes a bit, can't really describe it, but definitely picks up a bit during the chorus. And really cool drum pattern, and there's even a harmonica solo, which is definitely a nice touch. And a little fun thing is that during the song, at some point, you hear Kaz just whisper, "John, John."
I know. I've
Yeah,
heard
because
that.
she's kind of trying to. It's supposed to be her trying to like flirt with John almost. I mean, like most people were at the time. But it's just a little funny little tidbit there. And I love the intro where she finishes off with that big, big note at the end. I think that was a really good way to finish the song. So
Yeah.
yeah, very, very good song.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
Mhm.
on my copy, it's one of the songs advertised is Monday Monday California Dreaming, and then I Call Your Name, and I'm like, I remember when I first bought this record, I was just so excited for it. Well, yeah, I remember being so excited for that one particular song, and just like, ooh, can't wait to get to that song, can't wait to get to that song. Then when I first heard it, I'm like, this was good, but obviously it's grown on me. I mean, they took a very generic, somewhat like crappy Beatles song and they make it their own. And this is one of the few times where it's just like not only it's like one of the rare times where not only is it better than the Beatles version, but it puts the Beatles to shame, in my opinion. That's how much better it is.
Hmm, okay.
But you know, I could get some flack for saying something like that though. Because, it's the
You're
Beatles.
good. Yeah, yeah, of course.
But yeah, that's how I feel. Great song, and yeah, I do like that part when she's like John, John. That's just it's weird, but you know, 60s, gotta be experimental.
Yes.
uh, it's not a 60s song if it's not experimental. Um, Next song on the album, Do You Wanna Dance?
Yeah. So this was a cover. This is another cover. They didn't write this one, but yeah, I really enjoyed this one. This is probably one of my favorites and probably the most underrated song on the album, I think. I don't hear many people talk about it. Just this very pretty song. Denny's on lead vocals again. And the backing vocals again just really add to the whole sound. Some great guitars, and there's a great orchestra behind it all. It just puts it all together. But yeah, it's just a very, very pretty song and really beautiful. And so, yeah, this is a good standout for me.
Yeah, I mean the construction crew does a really good job with this album. I mean,
Right.
every album that the construction crew does works with them. They do a fantastic job working with them, and yeah, there's no exception. I agree. This is a great song. I was just telling Breyer I was just DMing him. I was like, picking 5 songs, the best 5 songs is gonna be rough because
Yeah.
every song on this album is just fantastic in its own way. And yeah, this is no exception. This is really good, and yeah, uh, amazing song. I love it. Next song on the album ends off side one. Go where you want to go.
Okay, so when I was doing research, I read that this was supposed to be the first single, and which it was, but it was only limited. I just can't. I didn't write down why it was only out for a limited time. But regardless, though, so still a very, very good song. Another great one, really catchy song, especially the whole "You gotta go where you wanna go." Like that whole melody is just so catchy. It's
Hey,
just so memorable. It's just very cool. And the good strings as well. Again, some really great string arrangements on this track is on this. It's very upbeat. It's like I already said how catchy it was, and supposedly this is about an affair Michelle was doing at the time, but I could be wrong on that. But that's what I heard at least. Um, but yeah, it's just a very, very interesting song, very cool, and yeah, another good highlight.
hey, Gene and McQuinn might back that up.
Yeah, maybe, probably.
McQuinn and McGuire just again higher. That's one of my. That's one of my. It's not on this song, but it's one of my favorite Mamas and Papas lines. McQuinn and McGuire just getting higher. Um, yeah, another fantastic song. I definitely do agree. This is. I mean, I don't get why this song was so limited. This would have been a perfect first single for them. This was just as great, if not better, than the 2 songs that did become the big hits off the album, in my opinion.
Hmm,
It just has that fun 60s vibe to it, even though the lyrics and the music is anything but uplifting. You
right.
know, it's just like the song I've been listening to called Copacabana or whatever.
Oh,
Uh,
Cabana. Gotcha.
it reminds me of that. Like it's just like the music is just so uplifting, but then the lyrics,
Right.
when you actually take time to look and listen to the lyrics, you just
Yeah, same,
a
yeah,
song,
same
depressing
can be
song.
said about Abba's stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Money, money, money. Like that song is just
Hmm.
so uplifting sounding, but meanwhile, it's just really depressing.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, what a fantastic song. Side two opens up with a very iconic song. Don't know if you ever heard it. It's called California Dreaming.
All right. Yep. I'm guess you can say I'm a little bit familiar with this song. But yeah, I mean, it goes without saying, this is often considered the signature song. Just this song about longing for California. Of course, I live in California, like I've said many times, but so of course I'm going to be biased towards this one. Just has that iconic acoustic guitar line that begins the song, and you just know what's coming once you hear that. Again, this just sums up their vocal arrangements. You know, the male singers will sing a line, and then the females will repeat it, and it just has this call and response effect, which is just absolutely spectacular.
Probably doesn't have the
Uh,
dream about California. I mean, you're
as
right, Jason.
of course, I'm living that dream right now.
The American
uh,
dream.
maybe not that American dream, but anyhow, uh, but yeah, it's just really great, and I really love like Denny's little part. Like he steps out and he takes center stage, and this is probably one of his best vocal lines, one of his most iconic vocal lines. Again, I don't feel people talk about very much. Like he is fantastic, and of course you have the flute solo, which of course is just so cool, so good. Absolutely love it. And of course, I know how to play the song on bass a little bit. That's actually one of the first songs I learned on bass, which is pretty nice. So there's also that attachment there. So yeah, to me, it's a perfect '60s pop song. Just nothing else needed to be added. It's just perfect the way it is. And yeah, it goes without saying, this is definitely one of my favorites.
Okay. Hopefully, thankfully, the Mamas and the Papas did make a song called California Sucks, or else it'd be one of the worst songs of the 60s, and you would not like
Yeah, I might even like the band in general.
it. Yep. just a song called California Nightmare.
Well, there's Welcome to the Jungle is sort of like that,
No.
except it's more like Los Angeles.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I think it's all right. I'm just kidding. No, I think this is a great song. I mean, come on, it's California
Mhm.
Dream. I could have joked there. I would have been like, "Yeah, the song sucks. It's overrated. It gets overplayed. I hate it. It sucks." But let's be honest. Well, I mean, this was obviously for most people, including me and Briar. This is our first Mamas and Papa songs we were exposed to. This is the song that made me want to fetch out this album.
Mhm.
Every other song, like I came for California Dreaming, but I stood for the rest,
Yes.
especially the top five. I will say, not because it's a hit, not because of all that, but this just barely didn't make my top five. I really wanted it to be me. Trust me, Briar. I wanted it to be. I really did. Because sometimes people might look at my top five songs or top 10 songs in general, just think I avoid putting the hits on it. But trust me, I really wanted this to be on my top five, but just barely wasn't on it. Just
That's fair.
it was either this song or that song, and I just like, I guess I'll pick this song. But yeah, this song's amazing, iconic for a reason, really.
Mhm.
Fun fact enough, you ever heard Barry McGuire song called uh, "Eve of Destruction"?
I heard of Barry McGuire. I haven't heard that song though.
Yeah, he actually he was the one who did the song originally.
Oh,
They
okay.
wrote it for him. Mom and Cat. I'll show what after our stream's over. I'm going to show you that version. It's basically the Mamas and Papas version, but with Barry McGuire singing in it.
Okay.
It's
Interesting.
it's it's an interesting version. Instead of the flute solo, it's a harmonica solo. It's very different from what we're all used to. When I first
Hmm.
heard it, I really did not like it, but it grew on me. But yeah, this is definitely the best version of this song.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to beat this one. Hard to beat perfection.
Even Destruction is one of the best songs of the '60s. Yeah, I'll show you that too, Briar. Even
Okay.
Destruction. That's one of. I agree with Jason. It's one of the best songs of the '60s. He's definitely more of a one-hit wonder, though. I will say that. Like
Hmm.
he tried to make follow-up singles to it, but none of them charted as well as Eve of Destruction. Next song on the album, Spanish Harlem.
All right.
Unlike the Bird song, Spanish Harlem Incident.
Right. Okay. So another cover on the album, and another song I really enjoy. It's kind of a more chill type of song. It has that kind of almost has. I want to say it's a xylophone, but it might be something. I know it's something similar to a xylophone, but it definitely adds to that percussion to kind of have that Spanish feel to it. And I think it's a very good one. There's a nice violin in the song as well, and they do a really good version of it. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Let's see, this one was another one that was kind of close to the center, and it could have been in the top five, but it missed out. But yeah, it was a nice song. Really liked it.
Yeah, I love this song. This is definitely one of my favorite songs on the album. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but it's just one of those songs where when I hear it, it just puts me in a relaxed mood.
Hmm.
I love Danny's voice on it. Definitely one of
Hmm.
his finest moments. But yeah, I do prefer it over the 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 Stephen King version or whatever. I forgot his name. He does a he does Stand by Me.
Oh, Benny King.
Benny King. I don't know why I said Stephen King. Denny King, he does that's his is also covered, but his is the more popular version of the song, I'd
Mm,
say.
okay.
Do
Yeah.
prefer this version though. Barry McGuire was in New Minstrel Singers with Gene Clark. Yeah, and that's why the mamas and papas said McGuinn and McGuire just to get by. Spanish Harlem was a good cover. I'm glad you liked it. Uh, yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but it is a really good song though. Next song on the album, I Need Somebody Groovy.
All right. Okay, so the females pretty much take lead center on this song. Um, this is another one that kind of has a more rocking feel to it. Definitely another very upbeat song to it. Just very like your usual 60s pop rock sort of sound. Um, yeah, I didn't have a whole lot to say about it, but yeah, it was just very nice, very solid. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Was kind of, if I were to have a dishonorable track, this one would be it. But again, it's just in the bottom because comparatively, something had to be on the bottom. But I still don't hate it. It's still a really good song. Really enjoy it, and yeah, that's all I gotta say.
You basically hit the head on the nail there. Like,
Mm,
yeah, you basically said a lot of what I was gonna say. Yeah, it's a good song. I like the harmonies, kind of.
mm-hmm,
I like the part where it's sort of like ba-na-na, ba-na-na-na-na-na, like sort of reminds me of the
mm-hmm.
first song on the album, but not as good. But yeah, it's great. But like you said, this is probably my second least favorite on the album. Uh, I'll tell you what my least favorite song on the album is when we get to it. But yeah, next song on the album, "Hey Girl."
Yeah. All right. So this one was actually co-written by John and Michelle. Not sure how much Michelle was involved, but assume it was a fair amount. Yeah, again, musically, it has a really cool. I love the bass. There's a nice little bass intro here, and you have a nice piano to add to it as well. Some great drumming, again by the Wrecking Crew, like we've established already. Yeah, another very solid song. Yeah, not much to say on here as well. Now this was my second to least favorite song, but again, still not bad, still pretty good.
Yeah, at first I wasn't crazy about the song. I mean, the last three songs when I first heard this album, I wasn't crazy about it because after I mean, like the second, like the first like eight songs, I really liked the first time, but then like
Hmm.
the last four songs on it, I wasn't as crazy about. But this album has grown on me a lot, especially this song. I used to dismiss it. I never skipped it, but I always dismissed it, and
Mm.
now it's one of my favorites on the album. I like it. The one of my favorite lines is I've seen it. I've seen them hurting girls before or something like that. That's one of my favorites. I like I like the beginning. Doom, 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 bum, boom, boom. That's one of my
Mhm.
favorite opening chords. Yeah, this is a really great song. Yeah, one of my favorites. Next song on the album, "You Baby."
All right. So we're back to another cover. Now this one I've written the least about. Because again, it's another very pretty much another pretty typical 60s pop song. Has a cool guitar intro as well. Um, I wrote down it's very catchy as well. Like does have a very catchy nature to it. Probably not as catchy as some of the other songs on here. But still pretty good. It's again kind of more middle of the road, but yeah, still very nice.
I really like this song. The first time I heard the song, I kind of thought what you thought. I thought it was just kind of catchy, but not really the best of what they're capable of doing on this album. But then I don't know what happened. Like I was sitting in the same room one day, and my mom was watching a show, and I heard this in the background. I heard the guitar notes, and I'm like, "This is You Baby" by the Mamas and the Papas, and I heard it, and I'm just like, "Man, this song is so good!" Like I don't know why I never liked it, and I heard the song like this was on repeat for a bunch of like this was on my repeat for so many days, and it became one of my most played songs of it was either 2020 or 2021. I forgot
Hmm.
which one. It became one of the most played songs I played that year, and
Okay. Cool.
I really like this song. And this was obviously the Turtles. They made a big hit out of this song, and while I like the Turtles version, I love the Turtles version actually, but I always give the nod to the Mamas and the Papas because I don't know the I don't know. I've always preferred the Mamas and the Papas version.
Hmm.
Next song on last song on the album, The In Crowd.
All right. Then we close out with a cover. Um, yeah, I think this was a solid song to go out with. Of course, you have Cass on lead vocals here, and she does a really stellar job, I must say. Great piano playing, and there's even a little bit of keyboard on here, a little keyboard solo, which is kind of cool. I like that. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward with just being a part of the in crowd, which of course by this point they were pretty much part of the in crowd, a part of that counterculture that was starting to grow more, especially when you go into the '60s. But yeah, another song I really enjoyed. Again, kind of more, kind of somewhere in the middle, kind of borderlining towards the bottom, but still, I think this is another solid song.
That's good. Hey Jason, I have a question because the Foremost did on their debut album, First and Foremost, and I'm kind of curious. What do you think? What version's better, this version or the Foremost version? I prefer this version, but I'm gonna go right ahead and say it. This is the weakest song on the album. I mean, this isn't the Learjet or the
No.
Collins from Ballad of Easy Rider bad, but
Mhm.
this is what I would consider to be like what Bryers would consider. Trying to think of the song name. Oh, Susanna, just sort of like to me, it just
Mm.
sounds more of like a joking sort of song. Like I don't know, I've never. This just sounds like sort of a throwaway after the first 11 songs on the album.
Okay.
I feel like the way I feel towards this song is how you feel towards "Oh Susanna" off
All
of
right.
"Turn to Turn." So,
I guess I can see it.
but yeah, never been the biggest fan of the song. I've tried to love it. I like it now, but I don't love it like the other songs. I mean, like I said, it's not worth being called a dishonorable song or a bad song per se, but it's compared to the other 11 tracks, it's definitely the weakest song on the album. Well, that concludes the reviewing section of the video. Pick your 5 favorite songs and an honorable song.
All right. So I'll just say my honorable right now. So for one song that barely missed the top five was Spanish Harlem. Um, so now we go into the top five. So number five, I have I Call Your Name. Number four, Go Where You Want to Go. Number three, Monday, Monday. Number two, Do You Want to Dance? And number one, to the shock of literally nobody, California Dreamin'.
Great list. I'm kind of gonna do what you did. The song that barely edged off the top five is California Dreaming. Like I said, I really wanted that to be on the top five, but I just couldn't edge it in there. Number five is Monday Monday. That was the song that I'm like, it's either Monday Monday
Hmm.
or California Dreaming, but the way California how Monday Monday is just barely edges it out in the top five. Go Where You Want to Go is number four. Number three is going to be Spanish Harlem. Number two is Hey Girl, and my favorite song on the album is You Baby.
Cool.
And before we say our album ratings, does Barry have a favorite California song?
It's probably going to be California Dreamin'.
Yeah, probably mine too. I mean,
Yeah.
I like I used to really like California Hotel California, but that song really got annoying. I prefer the Mamas and Papas over the Foremost, but it is close.
I
Okay,
definitely prefer them.
you've heard the Foremost album yet?
Uh, Not all of it, but I started it.
Okay, I'm assuming you weren't as crazy about that album.
It, it's not really the type of '60s music I prefer.
I can imagine. I mean, girls, 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 and
Right.
Baby City Boogie or whatever. Those two songs are just so goofy.
Yeah.
Okay, album rating though.
All right, album rating. Okay, I was really trying not to be. I was trying to not to be too lenient, but I gotta go with my heart. And I think for the first time I've been doing these reviews with you, I think for the first time I'm gonna give an album a 10 out of 10. I think it's just even the weak songs on the album are still very good. They don't detract anything, and of course the big hits are big hits for a reason. Absolutely great songwriting and good vocals all the way through, and it's just to me it's one of the essential albums of the 1960s.
I forgot. Did you say that? Was that on the list of essential
Yes, it
albums
was.
of the 60s?
I put it on the list.
Okay, I forgot the list, but I'm like, oh man, I'm really hoping at least that album's on the list.
Mhm.
Yeah. I have to say I'm the most lenient towards album ratings. I have to say, but I don't care for giving this one a 10 out of 10. This one's perfect. This is a perfect album. I mean, the first two albums, in my opinion, are just perfect albums. In my opinion, that is, but that's just my opinion. No, don't get me wrong. This is much better album than Foremost debut.
Right.
It is on the list. Yeah. Oh yeah, heck of a lot better than First and Foremost.
Yes.
I mean, I like First and Foremost, but it's no if you could believe your eyes and ears good though.
Mhm.
Not by a long shot.
Yes.
Man, I don't know how anyone could be like, yeah, I like If You Could Believe Your Eyes and Ears, but First and Foremost, that's a hold on. This is the real essential album of the '60s. If anyone doesn't know this album, you're in trouble. Oh man. Well, thank you guys for watching. Well, the two viewers that did watch this video. Pleasure to have Bryers on, of course. Always loving to do the album series with him. Always love his history lessons before the albums.
You're
Always
welcome.
love that. And yeah, very excited for the rest of the albums in the future. Anything you'd like to add before we are done with the video?
Well, it's the weekend, so I'm not looking for Monday.
Yep, got that clear. I mean, tomorrow
Mhm.
technically is a Monday for me because I got work
Mm,
tomorrow, but
gotcha.
you know, yeah, it's thank you guys for watching this and so long. Peace out.